So let's talk about some more about external. Let me get that. External analysis. And in this case, we say that we're using two tools, and these are the peso Porter's model, and you have Porter's 5 forces model. Now, under the peso, since we've done this in management basics, it basically talks about the political, the economic, the social, cultural, the technological, the legal, the ethical. We even have ecological and environmental issues. You're basically looking at each facet and you're trying to determine, is there any change within that environment that is posing a threat to your organization. That is very important to consider. Now, once you're done with this has to do with the macro environment, because in external environment, assuming this is my farm over here, we have what you call the micro external environment over here. Then you have the macro external environment. So the peso model will basically apply around this environment over here, but there is also the micro that deals with suppliers, that deal with customers, that deals with other people within this industry that are specific. So it basically is looking at come on, in a nutshell, it refers to some of the industry specific issues, and Porter identified several factors that would affect a firm, and he said the first factor is what you call the bargaining power of suppliers. The second factor is where the bargaining power of buyers. Then you have the third factor, you have substitutes. Then you have the other factor, you have rivalry from competition. What kind of competition are you getting? Then you have threats by new entrants. I repeat, Michael Porter identified five forces, and he said these 5 forces will always affect how the firm behaves, or the environment that the firm is placed in. So you have bargaining power of buyers, you have bargaining power of sellers, you have substitutes, you have rivalry from competition, and threats to new entrants. Now, in bargaining power of buyers and sellers, we are trying to say two things. If the seller is too strong, then you have a captive buyer. And in this sense, you have a situation like Apple product buyers. They are captive buyers to the company, because if you're buying from the company, the operating systems are unique. The hardware accessories are unique and single purpose. You're talking about upgrades are also unique to the firm. So the cost of switching is what creates a captive buyer. We go to Safaricom. We are all captive buyers to Safaricom, that owns over 60% of the financial markets, because the products therein make it so hard for us to switch, and that again creates what you call a cost of switching buyer. Now, a captive buyer is created when, again, I repeat, the cost of switching is very prohibitive. A captive seller is created when the product that they are selling is unique, or the technology used to make the product is unique. I repeat, a captive seller is created when the product is unique and the technology that is used to make the product is unique. An example would be steel is a very unique product. Another example is railway service is another very unique situation. So that creates what you call a captive seller. This is the first tool. Substitutes, you can have what you call generics, you can have counterfeits, you can have imitations. These are basically the three. Now generics is where a product is reverse engineered to make a cheaper, more accessible product of the same, and this is unique in the pharmaceutical industry, where you have the original version and the generic version. One is cheap, another one is not so cheap. Now a counterfeit basically is a product that is inferior in a way. It is inferior, and it is basically a contravention. It is let me look for the right word. You basically stole the rights to that product. You basically stole the rights to that product and you made yours inferior. Now imitations are basically where the brand name has been copied but the product is inferior. It is basically trying to pick a brand name. A good example would be LG with the G looking like a Q. We have Dior with the O looking like a Q, or even the O looking like a D. Those are basically imitations. Now we say under this step that if your product is very easy to create a generic out of, a counterfeit out of, or imitation out of, then you have a serious threat. Now you go to rivalry. This is basically the nature of competition in the industry that you are in. Now, when it comes to competition, we can look at various examples, and this we did see them. The nature of competition between Kiroche and EABL is very stiff. In other words, they're trying to outdo each other and literally try to shut each other down. That is a very aggressive market, and if you're going to come in here with an inferior product, you do not have the resources and call it momentum, and we did look at this case, then you are likely to be blown out by this by this nature of competition. Now threats to new entrants have to do with this. Is it easy to enter your market? Now it can be easy because of the technology. That would be one thing. We have regulation. That's another thing. Now if it is very easy to enter into a new market, then it is a threat for you. But if it is not very easy to enter into that market, for example the telecommunication space, then it is not a threat for you and you have your niche assured. So that's it for this external analysis. Let us go to the next step. Thank you. Let me just clear this out.